into in terms of like, you know, I don't know, their little petty arguments and stuff like that.
Just you rate, it's coming.
Yeah, exactly, right. But see, like at the beginning of the job,
Yo, you too far from your PS5 or something. You keep cutting out.
I'm literally standing right in front of my PS5.
You liar.
I'm not joking. I'm standing right in front of my PS5.
Just like those Xbox.
It's probably the internet.
It doesn't sound like you're losing signal. It sounds like you're far, like crunchy.
It might be the headset, man, going bad.
What headset is it?
It's
The what?
the Sony headsets.
I know, but which one?
The only one that I have. The only one that I bought when I got the console.
I'm saying which model. Is it just like the Pulse headset?
Yeah, the Pulse headset. Yeah. I mean, they're kind of worn out, and I think these are the ones that I had refurbished because the ones that I had before were messed up. So I sent it back. The good thing is that I actually bought a new pair not too long after I sent it back. So I literally have a new pair of Sony Pulse headsets sitting right here that I haven't used yet. So whenever these go bad, I'll just use it new ones. I was gonna sell them, but I figured I'd just hold on to them, you know, just in case.
Maybe the PS5 needs a reset.
Maybe.
Not bad now though.
Oh man.
They're intermittent.
Yeah. Yeah, it was happening when I was talking with you earlier before you came in here. But it's funny, man. I think about like at the beginning of the generation, man. Like right after the consoles dropped, a lot of people were comparing, you know, basically people were comparing whatever Sony offered, right? Whatever exclusive stuff and their launch lineup that they had, they were comparing it to Game Pass at the time. You know what I mean? Even though the vast majority of the stuff in the service was already kind of like, it was old at that point. You know what I mean? But they were like, oh, you know, I mean, in comparison to what you get with Game Pass, I mean, the PS5 it's just menial offerings. Xbox is the best offer, you know, the best choice, and all this stuff, right? The best value in gaming.
They sound like Democrats.
Mankind knew that they cannot change society.
Yeah, and then it was like that for a little while, right? Until Sony revamped their PlayStation Plus, you know. And it's funny because like right out the gate, man, they kind of already had like a leg up to some degree because you know, they already had like more games and stuff like that. They offered better pricing options. You know what I mean? They had their legacy titles, which they still need to work on, but you know, fundamentally, like the service offers pretty much almost exactly what Game Pass offers. You know, they have the day-and-date titles. They have some of their best first-party games in the service, although they're not first-party. I mean, although they're not day-and-date first-party, sorry. You know, and even with the day-and-date stuff, they have trials for these people who want to try out some of the new games, you know what I mean? So, I mean, and now they're like, you can see them putting more and more effort into getting like a better lineup of games, smaller day-and-date titles. They just announced 2 of them not too long ago. You know, one yesterday, or the day before yesterday, and the one that they announced a couple weeks ago. You know, I'm looking at this. I'm like, yo, bro. I don't see it personally. You know what I mean?
Coming up, observe response. Is it coming out?
I don't see it.
This is bad. Slap. Need more vitamin B1.
remember when Jim Ryan was like,
I knew that they cannot change
he had
society.
something,
So instead of
something,
reflecting
what do you call it, that was similar? Or he had something
Yeah.
for
Yeah, the
Game
answer.
Pass. And
Yeah, the answer to Game Pass. Yeah.
And there, every publication was like, well, what can they do?
People keep trying to make it seem like it's subjective. I'm like, it's not subjective. I mean, it is to a degree. You know what I mean? Because like, if you don't like any of the games in the service, that's different. You know what I mean?
But I mean, like, if that's the case, you gotta look at the numbers. No. How many games each service has? It was already out the gate better than because of the amount of games.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, the games, what do you call it? The games qualities are really high too.
Not only that. See, this is my argument, man. I'll tell you in a second.
You tricked me.
I've gotten a lot better since I've been playing this game the last couple days.
For real?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you got your motor skills going.
Oh shit. As he smashes me with a hammer and saves me. Anyway, this is my argument, man. I think the nature of this, man, are interesting because you know what, before I even say that, I think both Pass and PlayStation Plus are going for two different things. You know what I mean? Clearly Game Pass is trying to like grow their service and make it like their main platform for people to like consume their content. PlayStation Plus isn't really doing that. So I mean, they kind of have two different ideologies when it comes to their service, but I think they still kind of have to function similar in terms of the type of content that would draw people into the service. You know what I mean? So I think just the nature in itself, right? It makes you wonder. It's like, well, what makes a service successful? You know, and I think one of the major things that you kind of need when it comes to making a service successful is not only having content, right, that is new, like new content, but you need to also have relevant content, right, which is sometimes better than new, right, depending on what type of content it is. And I think they need to have, what you call it, like a foundation of content, which in this case would be legacy content. You know, content that is nostalgic, for people that have, you know, partaken of their product for a long time, type of thing, right? And when I think about that, right, I think PlayStation Plus has a leg up in pretty much all of those categories, for the most part, right? Because when you think about legacy, right, Microsoft doesn't really have a good legacy. You know what I mean? So people are not, and I think that's one of the reasons why it's kind of hindering their service from growing, is because they don't have that. You know, like when you look at things like, you know, Disney Plus and, you know, even Nintendo service, right? Even though it's cheap, a lot of people got into the service because of the old titles that they used to love and play, you know, so the legacy titles are important. You know what I mean? And then when it comes to relevancy, right? This is one of the arguments that people keep saying. They're like, oh, you know, they don't have as many new games, they don't have the day and date first party and all this stuff, right? And I'm like, dude, if you have a game that nobody wants to play, then it might as well not even be there, because it doesn't matter. It's not going to help your service grow. You know what I'm saying? You could have 100 games that nobody wants versus the service having like a few games that everybody wants, you know? And this service would get more attention because nobody wants to play that shit. You know what I'm saying? So like, when it comes to new and relevancy, I think new can be more relevant. You know, if the game is big enough and if it's something that people want to play, right? But you know, I also think that older titles can offer more value depending on what type of game it is. Like, and what I mean by that, right? For example, The Last of Us, right? I think The Last of Us is probably more relevant than almost every single one of the games that they had come out in their service recently. And the reason why I say that is because of the TV show, right? Which is why I think Sony's marketing is like immaculate, man. You know, they have their TV show and all that stuff, right? And they just brought millions of new people who want to play the game, right? So that means the game itself, all of them pretty much, from the remaster to the second one to the remake, all of those games right now are extremely relevant for the conversation, even though they're not new. You know what I'm saying? Another example, God of War, right? God of War Ragnarok just came out not too long ago, right? A lot of people are going back to play God of War 2018, you know, because they want parts of the story, so on and so forth. And it just ends up that God of War is one of the most, you know, renowned IPs like that, you know, in gaming, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? So I think relevancy is more important than new. You know what I mean? And I think PlayStation Plus has more relevant titles, you know, which gives it more value overall.
Thanks.
Plus, they're like, huh?
You think?
Yeah, for sure. I think it does, for real. Honestly. You know what I mean? I think they have more relevant titles, man. Because people keep trying to make like this, oh, it's not new. I'm like, dude, it doesn't matter if it's new. You know what I'm saying? If you got like a bunch of crappy little indie games that nobody wants to fucking play, yeah, you might like it. You know what I'm saying? But why do you think your service isn't growing? You know what I'm saying? Because nobody wants to play that shit. And it's like confusing people. It's because, oh, and then they come up with excuses. It's like, oh, you know, Microsoft, they haven't had enough exclusive content. That's not true. You know, because people keep dropping freaking lists. They've been doing it for the last few years. Oh, look at how many games we have in Game Pass. So that's not true, right? And then on top of that, right, you know, they say stuff like, oh, their goals are too ambitious. I'm like, no, man. Because within the same time frame, man, you've had more people subscribe to not only Nintendo service, you've had people buy the freaking Switch for $300, right? Which is, mind you, the same year that the service came out, right? You had more people buy the PlayStation 5 since it dropped in 2020. They've surpassed how many people have subscribed to Game Pass, right? For 500 to 600, if not more, during the pandemic, right? I'm like, dude, it's not that your goals are too ambitious, it's that people are just not buying your product. And what makes it worse, right, is that the product is readily available. You know, you don't need the console, you know what I'm saying? And it's cheap as hell. It's either $1 to $15, right? Dude, anybody can come up with that. You know, you can play it on your phone, your console, your TV, your tablets. You know what I mean? The console if you want it. You can stream it. You know, like there's so many different avenues for people to like partake of it. So it's like there's no reason why the service isn't growing. And it's like I think it confuses people. They're like, oh, you know, like when people like me say like, dude, Game Pass doesn't have games that people want. They don't have relevant titles that people really want to play. You know, they're like, it's not true because they believe that the freaking service has so much content.
Okay, Jan.
You know what I mean?
Okay, Jan. When they say shit like that.
Yeah, because they believe that it has so much content because they have all of these new like little crappy little indie games that nobody wants. You know, it's like, oh, you know, but their service isn't going. You know what I'm saying? And then they come up with an excuse. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's pretty clear. You know, PlayStation Plus. I mean, it offers the same shit, man. They have day-and-date titles. You know, they have a bunch of their first-party titles in there. They have better pricing options. They have all of the like fundamental things from cloud to rewards to legacy to, you know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Online capabilities and all that type of stuff. They have a bunch of relevant titles that people actually want to play, right? So to me, it's a no contest. You know what I mean? It's clear which one offers the better overall value. You know what I mean? So.
It's to the point where There's no logic for any of this.
Yep. I mean, they don't put their games in there. I'm like, dude, they have their games in there. They're just not day and date. You know, and they're like, oh, they don't, the new ones. I'm like, they even have some of the new ones in there. You know, they have trials for, what you call it? Horizon Forbidden West. And, what was the other game that they just put in there?
Yeah, but it wasn't day and date.
No, it wasn't day and date, but, like, it's new, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not old. You know what I mean? It's not an old game.
A year old.
I mean, now it is, but it's been in the service for a while now. You know, like it wasn't just put in there like yesterday. It's been in there for. I was in there last year, sometime last year. So they have had it in there for a while.
No, Forbidden West was not in there.
Bro, that shit was in there like sometime.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
No, I'm talking about the trials, not the because they just put it in the. Yeah, I'm talking about the game trials, not the plus that they added like last month.
And that wasn't. I don't think that was day and date either.
No, it wasn't. That wasn't day and date, but it wasn't like long after. You know what I mean? I think it was like it wasn't a few months. It was probably like 6 months after it was launched, something like that. But anyway, my point is that like if somebody wanted to play the game, try the game, and all that kind of stuff, you know, it's not day and date, but dude, for the type of service that it is, man, and the type of value you're getting, that's the best you're gonna get, man. You know what I'm saying? Because Sony's not gonna put their first party titles in there. You know what I mean? If you want their best shit, you gotta pay for it. It is what it is. You know, I don't think that is a negative towards the service though. You know, like people try to make it out to be. It would be different like if Microsoft was releasing like a bunch of like bangers, you know, all the time and consistently, and you know they were all critically acclaimed and they were always trending online, and you know what I'm saying, like that type of game. They don't really have stuff like that very often. You know what I mean? So this whole day and date thing, man, to me is like it's kind of like a moot point at this point to me. You know, and I think a lot of people, besides the people who are actually in the service already for Game Pass, you know.
Duel 1.
See, that's what I think Game Pass is, man. I think it's great for people who are already in the service, right? You know, they're already paying for it. You know, they have titles that they can take up that come in on a regular basis, right? But for people who don't give a crap about, who you know don't really have a leg in the skin in the game, pretty much. That's why their service hasn't been growing, man. More of that elsewhere. You know? It's pretty obvious. But anyway, man, when I make tweets like what I said, man, I mean, dude, it could be like 100% faster, man. I'm like, dude, double the games, everything that offers, their best first-party games, day-and-date titles and all that type of stuff, better pricing options. I'm like, dude, there's no contest here. Like, what are you even arguing? I mean, they don't have their games. They do have their games. It's not day and date, man. Neither are yours. I mean, yeah, but I mean they are. But you know, like, bro, like, when's the last time you had like a really good first part day and date game? So let's keep it a buck. You know what I mean? And then you know what they say? I mean, you might not like it, but I mean, it's a good game.
It's always the same fucking thing too. There's never anything different. It's like so annoying.
And to be honest with you, man, I think it's only going to get worse for them, you know, because like what we were talking about yesterday, man. If Sony starts putting like, you know, their multiplayer games in the service and stuff like that to get engagement and all that type of stuff, man, oh, it's done. You know what I mean? Like, and if they keep getting like some of these smaller AA games, indie games, you know, I think like all of it together, you know, it's gonna make it just a even better service overall, man. Cheaper, sustainable. It won't cannibalize their sales. You know, they'll get titles into the game that are not into the service that are not too expensive, and the ones that are expensive are more than likely going to be live service, which doesn't drive on the sales anyway. You know, so they could probably afford to do that. You know what I mean? So.
Sony's going to most likely bring back the second party. I mean, I'm sorry, AA, not second party.
Oh, AA, yeah.
AA.
You mean from their own studios?
In general.
Yeah, man. I think probably most of the AA games and the smaller like indie games and stuff that they're going to have is probably going to come from their third-party deals and you know, or their second party. You know what I mean? I don't think that they're going to focus too heavily on getting a bunch of indie or AA games from their in-house studios. I think they're going to reserve those studios mostly for, you know, the bigger AAA, you know, premium experiences.
Damn, I killed him in 2 shots. Damn. I didn't even want to do that. I was trying to quit the damn game. But I was so angry at what I just saw. Oh well. Fucking bitch. When Tekken comes out, I'm gonna transfer all of my playing styles to, not playing style, but like time for practice on that game. The same thing, yeah, the same thing fucking happened like it always happens. I find a fucking fighting game and nobody fucking wants to play this shit.
Wait, isn't Tekken gonna come into the service?
No. You hear that?
Oh, you know what? I know what it is. Never mind. It was on the PlayStation Start program. Stars that I was looking at it because they had it for like a monthly game where they give you extra points for playing it or something like that. That's what it was. It's funny, man, because I never really had like a big issue with Game Pass like that, man. You know, and I still don't. I mean, I have like, you know, my concerns about what you call it, how it will affect the industry and stuff like that. But I mean, I never disliked the service or anything. What started to irritate me about the service is when people started saying that Game Pass was going to be like the future and like the old, more traditional model is like going out the door. You know, which is mainly what Sony was focusing on. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing that annoyed me. Robin.